Hi, and hi, jazz hands. Um, Hi, and welcome to my channel. This is my first ever YouTube video. So I'm Trinity, and I kind of have been inspired recently by just like life events and some people that I follow here on YouTube to kind of join the booktube conversation. Yeah, I just kind of want to be involved. I find the community absolutely wonderful. And about 2 years ago, I started my Instagram page, or my Bookstagram page, and I love it. I love the community and the people. Everyone's just so friendly. So it's kind of inspired me to kind of start making videos. I really enjoy it. I've kind of done it in the past, and I kind of have a background in it. So yeah, if you want to hear what I have to say about books, then stick around. Welcome. I will try to be as articulate as I possibly can, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a rambler. I like to ramble. I will go off on a tangent probably most of the time. And if you can make some semblance or sense of what I say, then you are doing well. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys watching my videos, so stick around and I will be doing a book review. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. When I purchased this book, I knew nothing about the author, I knew nothing about the story. I purely bought the book because of how gorgeous the cover was. It certainly is one of those ones where you should judge a book by a cover, because that's fully what I did on this. But The Book That Wouldn't Burn is a tale of two people across time and reality. We have Laveria, our main female protagonist, and we have Eva, our male protagonist. And they are kind of, at the beginning of the novel, they're kind of in two different realities and two different times. And over the course of the novel, you kind of see their realities begin to intersect and intertwine, and it's a really interesting concept. Essentially, you have this main central library that has every book that's ever been written or will potentially be written, and it's all sourced by these assistants that bring all the books from different realities, which I thought was really interesting. And it kind of follows them as Eva's trying to escape the library, as he was trapped there when he was a child, and you have Laveria, who's trying to essentially escape into the library. And one chance meeting kind of sets them both on this journey, which kind of does a lot of questioning about how we use information, how we interpret information, and should we use information that we have access to. And that was fantastic. I thought it was a book that kind of left me feeling very philosophical. It poses a lot of philosophical questions, which is really good. But it is one of those books where I finished reading it about a couple of weeks ago, and I still think about it. There still are moments where I'm just like, my God, that was a beautiful piece of writing. So it's just a gorgeous book. It's so well written, and it just, the time jumping was a little bit jarring at first. It took me like a good few chapters to actually find my groove with it, but I think towards the end you're like, okay, you can almost sense that there's another time jump coming, and once you kind of get used to how Mark Lawrence sets up the time jumps, it kind of gets better. And it was just, yeah, it was a fantastic sort of nod to book lovers. I love any books that are written about books. I think they're fantastic. But this one in particular had just like little nods here and there to book lovers. There was one part where he describes fiction as someone having ripped out a beating heart, and I was like, every book lover who has ever picked up a book has had a book that will have ripped out their soul, ripped it to pieces, put it back together again, and then kind of done that again. And he kind of articulates that feeling really well in this book, which I really loved. And there were just parts that you'd read and you'd sit and you'd go, oh my God, that's just so beautifully written. He explains how language is almost like a tree and how it branches off into different dialects, and it was just gorgeous. And it's one of those books that kind of just sits with you at the back of your mind when you're not thinking about anything in particular, and then your mind will wander to that one piece of passage that you've read and you think, holy fudge, that really made a deep impact. And I think The Book That Wouldn't Burn is one of those books that kind of just sits with you for a long while after you've read it. In terms of sort of character development, I think the time frame in this has a lot to do with how Laveria, the main female protagonist, develops over the book. For Eva, he doesn't really change all that much, because when you meet him, he is about 20 years old. When you first meet Laveria, I think she's about 10, and by the time you finish the book, she's about 17, 18. So Laveria goes through sort of like a massive change throughout the book, and it's really interesting to see how the author does that in terms of the time period changing and how she's developed within that time. He does kind of do like little recaps after sort of like time jumps, so it doesn't make it as jarring as you would necessarily think. But I thought she was fantastic. There are bits in it that just make you laugh out loud, and she's just a spitfire, and I love that. Like, nothing stands in her way, and she's just a force to be reckoned with, and she's so protective of her friends, especially at the beginning where she loses her actual family. Spoiler alert, she does lose her family at the beginning, but through the novel you begin to see her develop sort of close relationships with people that you wouldn't necessarily think that she would connect with. So I thought she was a fantastic character, and I'm kind of sad that it wasn't a standalone, just because I really wanted them to have kind of like a resolution by the end. I do think it is going to be a series, so I'm hoping there'll be some news about the second book coming out shortly, because the way that they've ended it, you can't not have a second book. But yeah, I would thoroughly recommend this to anyone who is interested in these types of books. So thanks for tuning into my first ever YouTube video. I hope you liked it. I know there is definitely room for improvement, like my lighting setup, so I apologise for the reflection in my glasses. If you did like it, then hit the like button down below and the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. Also, just a little quick interject. If you have read this book and you enjoyed this book, or if you have any thoughts on this book, just drop me a comment down below. I would love to know other people's thoughts and start up a conversation. So yeah, let me know if you really enjoyed this. Sorry for the interject. Also, if you want to stay up to date with what I'm reading currently, then head on over to my Instagram page, where you can see what I'm reading at the moment. Yeah, this has actually been really fun to make, and I really enjoyed it, so hopefully this will not be the last.